welcome. Thank you so much for joining us for this second SMAC webinar. We're so delighted to have you. Don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter. It's focused on practical information. We're always looking for content, marketing, UX, content strategy, analytics, anything in the marketing field that could be applied to the Sitecore platform. You can always send an email to smac@sitecore.com if you have an article that you think would be a good fit. And I'll make sure that the subscription information for the newsletter is being widely circulated on social media. You can feel free to reach out to that email if you need it, and you can forward that to anyone in your organization who you think might get use out of it. And as always, if you're interested in presenting at the next webinar, please do email us. We're always interested in getting that slate of presenters lined up in advance. Make sure to email us the topic, the presenter or presenter's name, a brief summary, and the expected length of the presentation. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to our first panelists, Kate Orlova and Anna Gevel.
Thank you, Jackie. Hello, everybody. Today we will talk about taxonomy in Sitecore. My name is Kate Orlova. I'm Sitecore Strategy MVP and work as a solution architect at Delete. Today, my colleague Anna will be supporting me. Anna, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Anna Gevel and I'm Advanced Sitecore Specialist. And as Kate, I'm working as Solutions Architect at Delete.
Thank you, Anna. A quick intro into Delete. Delete is a digital agency with headquarters based in the UK. And our experience with Sitecore goes back to 2012 to version 6.6. We're a Sitecore Gold Solution Partner since 2015. We won 7 Sitecore awards. We have 25 Sitecore certified developers in-house. And over the years, we have developed 100 and more Sitecore-based websites, and also integrated Sitecore with more than 50 external systems. Please feel free to visit our website and read more about our Sitecore experience. Link you can see on the screen. Agenda for today. We all face some challenges with content categorization, personalization, and persona mapping. So today we would like to share with you our tried and tested approach to taxonomy in Sitecore implementation based on an award-winning property business called Jonas, and also share the significant results. And finally, we would like to announce an open source taxonomy in Sitecore module we've just released about a month ago in July. So what is a taxonomy? Taxonomy in general terms is the practice and science of categorization based on discrete sets. And today we would like to talk about content taxonomy. And we will discuss it as a way of organizing items in order to support marketing strategy and also enable many out-of-the-box features in Sitecore. You will also learn how it's important to implement taxonomy right from the beginning in order to maximize the value and return on investment. And as I already mentioned, we would like to share with you an example on the Jonas project. So Jonas is the UK leading property consultancy and estate agent. From day one, they had ambitions to develop the best website in property industry in Sitecore. Also, they wanted to integrate it with Microsoft Dynamics CRM, Repeat Cloud, Agency Pilot, and HireServe. And solution we developed and designed for Jonas won a Sitecore Experience Award. So you can read more details about our success story on Sitecore and Delete Agency website. Links you can see on the screen. Now let's look at challenges. As you can imagine, we faced, as with any other big project, main challenge was that property data is being pulled from an external data source into Sitecore every day and should be tagged accordingly to be personalization ready. Number 2, content editors physically could not process about 13,000 property items in Sitecore and assign the relevant tags manually within just 1 hour window before business hours. And number 3, we all had a desire to apply the personalization rules to the up-to-date content and track progress on goals without any downtime. We could successfully overcome all these challenges and design and build a first-class user experience for Kat and Jonas in Sitecore with an intuitive property search function, also implemented features to drive overall conversion and really set them apart from their competitors. Now let's explore how we've done it in more detail. First thing first, we have developed global taxonomy structure, and we apply it across all items such as content and property items, profiles, profile keys, profile and pattern cards, and of course, personalization rules. Let's take a closer look at how we structured our taxonomy specifically. So if you think about property business, and we are also all humans, and we need to have some space to live and to work. So that's why our first taxonomy segment is called tenure type, with only two options, for sale or to rent. So we're either buying or selling properties. The second taxonomy segment, as you can guess, is called property type, with four options: residential, commercial, development, land, and farm. So for example, as a Kat and Jonas website visitor, I'm browsing, say, a two-bedroom house for sale. It means that property item would be tagged as for sale, tenure type, and also as residential property type. And the last taxonomy segment, I would say it's very specific to Kat and Jonas, but if you think about any different business branches, that's it. So it's called division. And you can see some commonality with property types as well. So we have advisory services, residential, commercial, planning and development, farms, land, and estates. So at this point, I'll hand this presentation over to Anna, and Anna will share with us all technical nuances and magic we've done in Sitecore. So Anna, it's over to you.
Thank you, Kate. Let's dive into the details now and see how we connected taxonomy to different Sitecore features to power our profiling and personalization strategy. We'll start from our content items and see how taxonomy is assigned to the content items in Sitecore. For example, we have case studies here, which is one of the page types on our website, and we can see for each case study we can associate it with division, and the values in this dropdown, they are matching the values we've defined in our taxonomy. Another good example is properties. We store them in a bucket purely because there are a lot of them, and we've also configured facets for this bucket so that we can filter properties within a bucket. And on this screen you can see the property type facet with the same values as we've defined in our taxonomy. We import property from two external systems. This procedure is based on data exchange framework, and as we import data, we assign taxonomy tags automatically. For example, tenure type, we can see for this specific property it's to rent, and also property type is residential. And again, the same values as in our taxonomy definition. Right, and now we'll see how taxonomy ties together with other parts of the website and Sitecore features. Let's look at the profiles. In this example, we have property type, profile. You can see 4 profile keys: commercial, development land, farmland and estates, and residential. They are the same as within taxonomy. And we have one-to-one mapping for profile cards. And in this example, we have commercial, a page view profile card, and it has values assigned to one of the keys and not others. And the magic happens when someone visits a commercial property page, then we'll see that this page is tagged as a commercial page, and we will trigger this profile card automatically, and the values will be assigned to the visitor's profile. And on the next screen, We have a similar configuration for pattern cards. Again, we have our 4 keys with one-to-one mapping to pattern cards. And within the pattern field, you can see that we will start triggering this pattern match and start personalizing when someone clearly looks like a person interested in commercial property. And as we've done that, we will start seeing the same profiles across the website and all the different Sitecore tools. For example, in Experience Analytics profiles, in Experience Analytics reports, we see how different profiles are performing. And on the screen grab, we can see that buy and residential are the most popular profiles on the website. And we can also go to the experience profile and select one of the contacts and see all the pattern matches for different profiles. In this example, we have our property type profile, and it looks like this person is interested in residential and farmland and estates properties. And now let's have a closer look at personalization and how we've configured it. On this screen, we have a few personalization rules. As we've done our personalization and profiling strategy, we've identified a number of key audience segments, such as international, commercial, residential, farmland and estates, and planning and development. You can see they're matching our taxonomy items and profiles. And in this example, it's a hero banner component, and we can see the rules that are using pattern card matching and how we're replacing content with relevant items on the website. And on the right-hand side, we can see the reach and effect figures, and they are being calculated based on the last 30 days. And we can also see how different the content is when we start personalizing it. On this screen, we are comparing two audience segments, residential and farmland and estates. We'll start from the hero banner, and we'll see the strong marketing messaging for these two audiences and different imagery. And also we are personalizing divisional content on the page, which is a tailored content, and it is being pushed to the very top of the page when we understand that someone matches a pattern card. And now we'll just follow one of the audiences and see how the website is being adjusted as we're personalizing content. Let's start from the home page. So as we've seen, we've got a hero banner, which is personalized, and then we are also pre-populating fields in the Find a Property form. As soon as we know that someone is interested in buying a residential property, we'll start pre-populating these two drop-downs with residential and for sale values, and the same for other profiles. And when this visitor comes back to the website, these values will be pre-populated. The next important sections of the website is the property search results. And on this page, we are personalizing a number of elements, starting from breadcrumb and also filters and special requirements. They depend on the audience in the segment. And of course, we are personalizing other content areas on the website, such as case studies and insights. And we're using filters on these pages, and we are pre-populating them based on the visitor's pattern card, and we'll start serving personalized content straight away. And of course, we need to measure how successful our personalization campaigns and what is the conversion rate. So we're using page events, and we're assigning engagement value points to our page events. And we've got a couple of examples here. The first one is a make an offer form, which is an important form on the website, and submission of this form will give a user 20 engagement value points. So on this screenshot, we can see The 20 points will be assigned to the user's profile, and also the form itself, how it looks on the front end. When it's submitted, we'll start measuring success. And another example is the document download on the website in the research section. And as you can imagine, the form submission is more important than the document download, but still it's interaction on the website. So we're given less number of points for the document download. And you can see how it looks on the website.
Thank you, Anna. So this strong technical foundation in Sitecore facilitated the great results. We could achieve 925% increase in pre-qualified phone inquiries, 507% increase in online market appraisal inquiries, 375% increase in overall site conversion rate. And these high figures, they're just telling themselves about significant project return on investment. We also could timely personalized content to the end visitors. And finally, we could reduce time for property data tagging from hours to minutes. So you remember that high volume of properties were importing every day. And all our helpful learnings and achievements and experience from Carter, Jonas, and other Sitecore-based websites we developed over the years, we have consolidated in our taxonomy in Sitecore module. As I said, it's been just only released a month ago in July and aims to support marketing strategy and provide a consistent way of organizing content in Sitecore. It's an open source. You can see a link on GitHub. So far, we have only 2 contributors, Anna and myself. And first release was consisting of taxonomy definition, flexible settings for taxonomy fields, taxonomy profiles, our custom pipeline to dynamically assign the relevant profile cards on the fly based on the link tags. So technically, you just need to define profile cards at the tags level, and then all your content items will inherit this definition via tags. Sitecore packages, as you can guess, data templates, tags, and profiles, and of course, step-by-step guide. So feel free to try it, install, share your feedback, and it's free for use on your commercial projects. Key takeaways from our session today. Organize items to support your marketing strategy with the power of Sitecore from day one. Try to implement the structure in an unstructured content. Know the taxonomy right from the beginning in order to maximize the value and return on investment. Align your taxonomy structure with Sitecore items and 4 Ps in order to deliver the right content to your audiences and achieve better conversions. And finally, please connect our taxonomy in Sitecore module to your solution to help with taxonomy setup. Thank you for your time today. Hopefully you found our presentation helpful. If you have any questions, please feel free to connect with Anna and myself on social channels. You can see our Twitter, LinkedIn, and GitHub accounts.
That's marvelous. Thank you so much. I would ask that if you have questions, you do reach out to the presenters on social media. But this was very exciting. Thank you so much. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to James Williamson.
All right, there we go. Great. Well, that was awesome. Thanks everybody for having me. My name is James Williamson. I'm a Sitecore strategy MVP and a partner at Bonfire. And today I'm going to be talking about using xConnect and machine learning to predict member retention. I've got a number of reference links in this deck. I hung the deck off our website, so you can go to buildabonfire.com/SMAC Talk if you want to grab some of those links. The use case that we're going to talk about today is a client of ours, a membership-based organization. And like most associations, member organizations, their revenue comes from registrations, right? So When we're thinking about year-over-year predictions, we think about the new member acquisition funnel, but really most importantly, we think about member renewals. Like many organizations, they have siloed systems, which makes it a little bit of a challenge to get regular reporting and data visibility. And that lack of data leads to really a less precise forecast when they're thinking about year-over-year growth, and it leads to more generalized marketing. So they were kind enough to let me use them as a guinea pig when I was doing my first step into the whole data science machine learning world. So I want to first reference a standardized, really systematic approach. It's called CRISP. It's an approach to how you can articulate a problem in machine learning. And since we're mostly a marketing crew here and not all that technical, I'm really just going to focus on the first 3 steps of that. Let me close that just in case it's showing. So that's the business understanding side, which is really where we start. You know, understanding the organization's outcomes and objectives, what business processes are in place, what metrics are in use within the organization, what success looks like, what the vocabulary is within the organization. And then you move into the data understanding, which is really, you know, ultimately, where does all the customer data live? And especially if we're in a siloed environment, what's the source of the truth for that customer data? So what are our line of business applications? What are our data sources, our fields that we have to work with? And then we step into an understanding of what it takes to do data preparation. Really, it said, what do you have to do to get that data out of the system, our systems, and structured in a way that we can actually use it for machine learning. So our use case is really the precise question that we're trying to answer is, what's the percentage likelihood that a member will renew? And then maybe within that, you know, it's like, what indicators have a bigger effect on renewal than other indicators? You know, what attributes related to a customer might drive them towards renewing versus not renewing. Let me get back to this. So the first thing we did is we said, let's get as much data as we can into one place. And so that place for us was XDB, right? So we looked at bringing data from a custom homegrown membership system into Sitecore, into XDB. We had another event system that we used, and you can see the screenshot here is a membership tab inside of the experience profile, and this is my member account. So you can see I've got a lot of member information. We've got some event information like swims that are competitions. And then we also have like the Sitecore normal engagement information, activity information. What were my web visits? What type of engagement value did I derive over my visits? What type of goals did I trigger along the way? What kind of pattern cards did I trigger? And so if you think about aligning all that information along with the precise membership information, we start to get a view of the member in this case. So once we had that sort of centralized in one place, more or less in one place, we then kind of move into the data wrangling space. And this really, inside of the data science machine learning, is where the bulk of the time, the effort is spent. It's where the real work happens. So we used xConnect queries to generate essentially a big flat export. We did it in it's a JSON export, but if you think about it kind of in a non-tech world, think about it as a big Excel file or a big flat file that's got columns across the top that represent the fields that we're going to use or that we could use in our model. And then each row is a member. And then we've got to go through the process of really joining different data types, filtering data, grouping it into buckets, things like that. Ultimately getting that data flattened out and in a stage that we could use that a model could ingest and we could use to train. So that gets us to the model stage, and at that point, really what we're doing is we're answering a question. We're saying, what model should we use to answer the question that we have or to solve the problem, the machine learning problem that we have. So here's a few examples. Probably the most common is regression, a regression model that really it predicts a numeric value. So that was our case. You know, what's the % likelihood that a member is going to renew? And we get back a number. There's also classification models that say they'll allow you to predict, you know, a category from a list. You know, what type of product might this person be interested in based on their browsing behavior or something along those lines. There's a link to a cheat sheet in here as well. Anything with a blue underline is a link out. So the next step for us in this process was really ML systems. So it's like, what do we use to do all this work? And there's a space that I became aware of, I don't know, 3, maybe 4 years ago, which is the data science machine learning platform space. You can see an example, a screenshot of that on the right there. I've used mostly RapidMiner and KNIME. They have open source or free desktop applications that have a GUI interface that allows a less technical person like me, because remember, I'm a marketer, not a developer, not a statistician. So it gives me some tools to do that data munging, data wrangling, and then to actually build out the model. There's also the notion of auto ML, which is something that's really growing in the space, which is having a service like a Google Cloud ML. Or RapidMiner has the auto ML service as well, where the tool itself will point multiple models at your data source. It'll run them, it'll score them, and then it'll give you the best one, or it'll give you a short list and tell you why it's, you know, better than the others. So it's a sort of a slippery slope, but you're really, as a marketer, you've got the tools, if you choose to use them, to kind of take out a lot of the stats behind the scenes. There's a blog post in that link to the right of about that whole auto ML side. So once we pick a system, right? Once we've got a system to use, we actually have to build the model. So the steps along the way are really, you start by training the model. So we take that historical data that we've got all flat and nice, ready to use. We split it, maybe 80% for training, maybe 20% for scoring. And then we train the model against what we're trying to predict. And again, this is, will the member renew or not? That's what we want to know. Once we do that, we score the model, right? We say, how effective is the model against that 20% of the data that we've held back for scoring? And once we get a model that we like, that we think has a high enough accuracy rate to work for the business, then we deploy it, or basically we use it. So in our world, we started simple. We said, all right, we're really going to run this model once a year on our membership data, and we're going to run it on a batch basis. We're going to run it against our entire membership list, and we're going to return a renewal likelihood number that we're then going to import back in XDB, make it available in XP so that we can actually use it for our marketing efforts. So you can see a screenshot of that lower left, and then you can see a custom condition that's been built that allows us to work against that data in Sitecore. So we can use that condition in List Manager, in marketing automation, and in personalization. So we could say, as an example, we could group our entire membership list into buckets of high, medium, or low likelihood to renew. And that's really the process that we've gone through. So really, that's the quick overview of what we did as our first step into machine learning, really using a combination of Sitecore and some off-the-shelf machine learning systems. There's some benefits along the way. I think the biggest benefit for me has been it's helped me be a lot more specific and precise in my questions, in the hypothesis, my estimations, and my marketing actions. I came across a snippet along the way. I don't know who said it. I wish I'd written it down, but it's the notion of data-informed, tech-enabled, outcome-driven, and I really like that. I think it's a nice generalized benefit statement for this whole kind of act like a data scientist as a marketer theme that organizations that are trying to be a little more data centric or data informed are going through. So that's my story. Thanks for listening.
Thank you so much, James. That was wonderful. All right, I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to Ishraq.
So thank you everyone for joining us today, and thank you for the SMAC team for giving me the opportunity to present today. My name is Ishraq, and I am the CTO at ApplezTech and a Sitecore architect and MVP. And the story I wanted to share today is I've been working on a project where we had this scenario of doing a personalization at scale, or what I like to call batch personalization or mass personalization. And the whole idea, you can approach your personalization implementation using different strategies and different approaches. And I wanted, as part of this short discussion today, is to approach this from a single question, which is, what is the next best action to do? Now, taking this into how we start defining and laying down the foundation for our personalization strategy, at the beginning, we start to build our content strategy, right? The Sitecore information architecture. We have your marketing team, your strategy team, your creative and development, for sure, because they want to be part of defining this customer journey as we build the site moving on. And you start to identify which areas of the site could serve as a starting point or a triggering for your personalization. So for example, you have your visitors or your customers download a brochure or sign up for a newsletter, or even add a product or purchase a product and add that to their shopping cart, right? So the question that keeps happening, what is the best next action based on these activities? What should we trigger, or what should we do once an action like this happens? And one of the most obvious personalization strategy, which is the explicit behavior based on these different approaches, would be triggering a goal, registering an outcome, even moving your contact or visitor from one marketing campaign to the other, right? So these are activities that we can define and trigger along the customer journey. However, in certain scenarios, and we've seen at the beginning, Kate and Anna presentation and talking about this huge amount of content that we have. So this could be a new project that has been migrated to Sitecore, could be an upgrade, but we're talking about a huge amount of pages and content. And as you start to plan this content strategy and you lay down your personalization foundation, you would to make sure that if a customer of mine or if a visitor signed up for a newsletter a year ago on the old site, and then 6 months ago they bought a product based on the Facebook campaign that we had, and now they have been visiting our new site, which is built on top of Sitecore, the information that we are displaying for them needs to be continuous, right? We don't rather I continued with us the journey a year ago and continue today. So we need to take these base visits into account. We need to make sure that all the browsing activities, all the different work that they've engaged with us across different channels and touch points has actually teach us a little bit more about them and allowed us to categorize them and derive some attributes and the traits that helps us, say that these can be put in the segment, this audience can be personalized based on this and this and that. So an implicit behavior is one of the most important things to ask about. So again, what is the next best action? And I want to put this in the context of personalizing and at scale. So let's take this business case or case study, and this is like a travel agency. You know, during COVID, we are planning to promote, you know, like internal activities. We want to showcase that we can still provide services, going from one city to the other, do this activity and that. So we identified like a different number of personas or categories that this person who are interested in doing some outdoor activities, we can put them within an adventure persona. They like to do mountain climbing. They have rented a mountain bike. They have bought a tent. They have bought a product that has to do with these different activities. So we've already identified that they could fit within this persona of being adventurous, and I want to display personalization based on that. However, since this is, when we talk about big brands and different, even like smaller brands still working with different integration systems and third-party systems, we're still gathering information about them in analytics through Google Cloud. So you have a different source of information that's still valid while you are building your personalization. So take this case where we have identified that maybe during their interaction with the website, we could put someone within the adventure category or persona, but still their activity on other third-party websites, they have looking into Facebook campaigns and ads about the beach, about more of the seaside activities. So this is a very valid and very important information. One, because we've been able to capture this even if there has not been any explicit interaction with the website where we keep tracking their engagement with us. And second, that intent, the shift in their intention from being identified based on their persona as adventure to someone who might look into, instead of the mountain, into the sea. This is a very valid information for us to change the strategy that we're applying when do personalization based on these external information and journey. So one of the first thing that comes to mind when you think about, again, what is the next best action is rule-based personalization. And as Karen and Anna showed us at the beginning of this webinar, if you did not watch it, go again and watch. It's going to be more details about scenarios like this one, would be to define this if-then activity. If the behavior of this visitor, inherits an adventure characteristics or attributes, I want to show them this piece of information. However, what we've noticed as that, like, as you learn more and more about your visitors and you start to have a more closer look into their intention or their intent of interacting with your brand, you want to start to provide even more and more personalization. So the number of personalization rules could become larger over time. And another thing would be, over time, with this a huge amount of rule-based personalization, it becomes a little bit hard to maintain. And we faced this before with previous clients where they would rather have a personalization but not use on rule-based personalization. And that was a game changer for them. They don't want to create rules. They don't want to maintain any type of rules, even let's say if their kind of business continuously change. So let's say within this week, they want to start to do promotion for visits to a certain location in the country. So here, like in Jordan, if someone is interested in climbing, we start to show them promotions to go climb and hiking within the northern of the country. And then if they start to shift in their intention, we can maybe show them some potential routes and trips toward the Dead Sea and such. So these are continuously changing. This could change based on the location, on the time, and even the shift in interest, because, during these times, our intention staying at home could change like very continuously and rapidly. So we want something that can be easily maintained and modified without the need to continuously create rule-based. And final thought around rule-based personalization, and again, this is one of the most powerful personalization tactics we have in Sitecore, but still we have some kind of a reliance on the human guessing. So if I would assume that anyone who could exhibit some sort of like interest in external activities, that they can fit within this adventure. And sometimes I might miss those who can be on the, you know, the sidelines between two different personas, or those who have their intention and their interests have already completely shifted, interacting with other systems other than our website. So behavior-based personalization becomes more and more interesting and more used and utilized, especially when it comes at scale. Again, one of the most powerful tactics and quick ones to use is profile keys and cards. I'm not going to go into the details of that, but just to think about it as, once we define a persona, once we define that certain segment of our audiences fall within this category and they exhibit these traits, they are interested in hiking, they're interested in mountain climbing, and we start to give them a value, a score that can, once tracked across different pages, we start to have an actual meaning, and we can personalize on top of that using button cards. So profile cards mainly are tagged on a page level. So you have to go into your different pages, assign your profile cards, and then trigger different personalization activities based on that. Again, coming into place taxonomy and having to discuss this twice on this webinar just show how important taxonomy has been to be part of your content strategy from day one, especially when you think about personalization. Make sure that personalization is part of your day one activities, like personalization by design. We're no longer looking at this as an activity after going live or after delivering the MVP, but this is as part of your number one activities. And in this case scenario, personalization has been really important, that we are building on information that we get from previous sites and different third-party tools, and the visitor, as soon as their first visit or even their second visit, we should be able to provide them with the proper personalization rules. So taxonomy takes into place. I'm not going to talk into details about that, but the taxonomy we're talking about here is the content taxonomy. It's not the marketing taxonomy. This is the set of taxonomy that we can define. And the nice thing about that categorization and breaking down of these taxonomy into different levels is that we can easily map those into different profile cards and keys. And again, if the output of your content strategy planning has been resulted with this Excel sheet or whatever output that can give you the list of taxonomy, list of personas and profile cards, and you can have your development team do this automation for you. They can run a script and do this automatic tagging, automatic assigning of these profile keys to your taxonomy. Then you can have the power of, you know, having your personalization, having your profile cards and the site having the ability to assign these profile cards instead of the page directly to that taxonomy. And the nice thing about that is, as the guys already mentioned, if you have a huge amount of taxonomy, a huge amount of pages, you can automatically assign these profile cards and keys directly to the taxonomy, which can span, you can have like one-to-one or multiple taxonomy tagging for pages. All the new pages, for example, for us, like destination pages, or which route we want to suggest as the next best action for our visitors would be, as soon as you create a new page, it's already been tagged, and this taxonomy already been connected with a profile card. So your personalization hit directly. And as you all know, like that profile cards and these button matching and calculation is done on the page level. Customization is needed to do that. However, the approach that we went with, instead of doing a curated assigning of data sources for different components based on the rule-based engine, instead we went into a different approach where we made sure that these tracking information that are stored on the taxonomy level is being propagated up to the page level. So whether this is a faceted search or whether this is any other component that can be utilizing information beyond the rule base and having data sources can be used. So once I visit a different number of pages, I can trigger the xConnect layer to not only look into the page I have visited, but also to the taxonomy associated with it and calculate my patterns based on that. And this is a different approach where we can apply this at scale. No need for curation or rule-based. You can still do the minimum customization in the xConnect, and you don't have to do anything on the XTB part of Sitecore. So still the better matching and calculation and increasing the propensity values and this kind of stuff are done through Sitecore, and you don't have to play with that. Another powerful tool, especially with the scenarios that I mentioned, that based on third-party information that I've collected about these specific visitors, that they are now interested in more of seaside adventures rather than the mountain view that I've collected on them during their visit and the site. We can interact and get these information and store it as custom facets in the experience profile. So if we're doing an integration with Google Cloud and you have access to your data layer, we can connect the two visitors through the unique tracking ID from Sitecore, and the next time you're able to say, like, yeah, this, I've managed to identify that this is my user. Now, based on the information stored about them in the Google Analytics or the Google Cloud, the next best destination for them would be to go to a seaside. Then I'm going to personalize based on it. This is how the profile looks if we're doing the normal Sitecore pattern matching. But then what we can do is create a custom facets. We can store what is our next best destination, what is the next best accommodation. So by answering what is the next best action I want them to do, we can get these information about them, store it as facets, and again, you can trigger your personalization based on that. So the next time you're displaying any search-based component or any component that can have access to your experience profile, you can prioritize the information that's coming from a third party and check, do I have these information stored for against that experience profile? Then let's promote personalization there on Sitecore personalization and vice versa. So we can always fall back into this one. Again, we can do rule-based personalization based on facets. You can create your custom facets, your custom personalization rules, and you can still leverage that if you want to do more of a curated personalization strategy, but you can still do that at scale just by leveraging how you're storing these information, how you are aggregating and interacting these in the xConnect layer. And finally, machine learning and automation is definitely always an option with Sitecore. So whether you have like this huge amount of data that can put you in a position to leverage the machine learning and Sitecore Cortex, the automated content tagging is a very powerful tool to utilize because it helps you do all of these efforts without the need to create a custom code to do that. It's going to understand how the content extract these tags. And again, you can apply your personalizations on top of these tags and taxonomies, and you can build your persona matching against that. And again, if you have the time and budget and the scale to work on the AI level, definitely auto personalization, the ability of the AI engine to segment and devise new audiences for you to use, and your personalization is definitely a powerful tool. And yeah, that's it for me.
I'm going to turn it over to Jill Grozalsky for our final presentation.
Thanks, guys, for joining. Again, I will try and speed through this for the sake of time so that we can maybe end on time or just a couple minutes after. So let's talk smack about Sitecore XP10. Not going that fast. I'm Jill Grozalsky. I am a 5-time Sitecore strategy MVP. I recently made the move over to the dark side here at Sitecore back in December, but previously had worked with a number of different partners, including Verndale and BrainJox. Have been part of this community for a while. So really excited to kind of give you my first rundown on the Sitecore side of things. So I want to talk about the latest release with XP10. Just a note down here, love Twitter followers, so please get at me on the Twitter. It's nice to have you guys all here. So Sitecore XP10, it's so exciting, yay! As you guys know, we launched this earlier this month. And with Sitecore 10, you know, comes a number of different updates for both marketing and IT, right? And I think we've heard a lot about the excitement in the community around the IT angle and the specifics there, you know, containerization, Kubernetes, the new ASP.NET Core SDK, excuse me. But, you know, I don't want us to forget that there are a ton of really great updates for the marketer as well, and from the strategy side of things. I think with this release, more than others in the past, perhaps this is something where, and you've seen this in some of the materials that have come out, is we're really creating efficiencies for both marketing and IT in terms of providing the tools that help these teams launch experiences together. And I think all of us, kind of from the implementation standpoint, having seen this firsthand, we understand that there can be a lot of friction, you know, if marketing and IT are working on different timelines, right? So what this release has done is put marketing and IT much more in lockstep, which not only helps with the success and the time to market for an initial implementation, you know, if we're on the partner side and we're working with customers, you know, as they move from perhaps a homegrown CMS to Sitecore. So of course it helps there, but it also helps in the evolution of experiences, which is something that I think we focus a lot on in terms of, you know, personalizing, testing components and page layouts and things like that, and being able to iterate quickly, because our customers, you know, are changing their expectations so rapidly. So that's kind of just quick overview kind of that. Again, super excited about this. So quickly touching on a few things, again, driving successful engagements here and really focusing on that evolution piece of the experiences quickly. You know, we'll talk about some of the Horizon updates, as well as the audience analytics filter, enhanced privacy features, and really streamlining that end-to-end content with some deeper integrations between Content Hub and Sitecore XP. So I'm just going to go through some feature highlights pretty quickly here. You know, we do now support just an easier workflow from Microsoft Word in terms of being able to kind of draft and have clean markup when you carry it over into Sitecore. You know, the inline rich text editor can now take that Microsoft Word content and create a clean markup. You know, helps kind of in efficiencies, also supporting some of our customers just in the way that they work. If Word is the way that they want to do it, you know, absolutely more power to them, and we can carry that over here in terms of supporting that and saving time without having to do that cleanup. In terms of the Horizon and the expanded editing features here, now with multilingual and multi-site support, right? So continuing to enhance what's available in Horizon and really building towards that feature parity with Experience Editor. So this is definitely something to keep an eye on future roadmaps as well, right? So Horizon now is supporting site and language selectors in the application bar, you know, being able to use the new editing experience with those solutions, including SXA sites, which is great. Also being able to leverage the Content Hub DAM within the Horizon editor. So being able to have, again, that kind of tighter integration and supporting the use of multiple products. And I think, you know, we'll see more of this kind of throughout the year and kind of the use cases there. Editing SXA content and setting data sources directly in Horizon, right? Again, creating ease of use and efficiencies here, as well as dedicated field editor to edit metadata and other fields as well. So just expanding the functionality here, I think, you know, that's obviously going to drive usage and adoption. We've got some improved templates for EXM in terms of providing users with the out-of-the-box templates to get up and running. Again, really all around efficiency, putting more power in our customers' hands in order to, you know, get in customers' inbox more quickly, be able to pivot and respond to any sort of digital signals that we're getting. You know, part of these improved templates also helps to remove the technical costs due to the requirements for a specialist developer to create and test these, right? So again, putting more power in the hands of the marketers and accelerating, you know, their ability to get these things out. So a full suite of well, not a full suite, but a suite of HTML templates that are responsive, aligned with best practices, and work straight out of the box, right? And so just a little bit more on that. So this is kind of what you're looking at in that default installation of EXM. So with your predefined templates, also with some import options as well, right? And so when you're leveraging EXM, being able to kind of quickly select what you want to do, configure these emails, and get that message out into customers' inboxes to keep that communication going. Also, as part of this, XP10 now allows you to leverage marketing automation to engage subscribers with birthday campaigns, right? So a new campaign rule that allows you to utilize it in terms of sending an offer X number of days in advance of a birthday, kind of nurturing. I know Dunkin' Donuts sends me that every year and I love it, so I get my iced coffee. Sending greetings on birthdays as well as reminders, right? It's a small touch point, but it shows kind of, hey, we know who you are, this is kind of a big day, I want to show you a little bit of love, and really helps with kind of the nurturing and loyalty of customers, so being able to leverage that. And then my personal favorite is the audience analytics filter. It is a very powerful filter, small but mighty, right? In terms of being able to view and target segments via predefined rules, and then report based on marketing segments. So within experience analytics, we've had some data available to us and ways to kind of work around to get this information in terms of what audiences we're targeting. We get some of this in the personalization dashboard and how that's working, right? But having this a bit more at our fingertips to really understand and leverage the list that we're building in the marketing segments to see what content's receiving the most engagement across segments. And I think being able to extract this out is super helpful, in terms of working smarter, not harder on content creation, right? And ideating on that. If we see that some content is just not performing well with a specific segment, that gives us kind of cause for analysis in terms of, what is that content? Why is it not performing well? Or who is the segment? How do we need to work better or for them, right? In terms of, highlighting personalization opportunities, really allowing marketers to quickly activate or adjust content for the optimal customer experience. So really, really being able to have this at a quick digestible view instead of having to kind of work around, look in multiple places. And also just report on performance of key audience groups, which of course, has implications in other efforts, right? If we're leveraging EXM, understanding those key audience groups, right, might impact how we segment those lists, or how we're leveraging marketing automation, how we're adjusting some of the personalization rules that we have, or maybe even expanding on some of the persona or pattern cards that we have in the system. So really just, being kind of customer centric and using this filter to do that. Excuse me, I know we're slightly over time. Just a few more slides for you. And then, I talked about this before, but I think this is something that we're going to continue to see more and more of, right? Is just the tighter and deeper integration between Content Hub and Sitecore XP. There are huge benefits to marketers when we're streamlining the content creation process, and anyone who's been boots on the ground before, helping a customer try and leverage or execute personalization for the first time. I think you guys know better than anybody how challenging it is to just create and manage that content for personalization scenarios. And then the next challenge, right, is to scale that. So if we're able to streamline that content creation process and kind of organization around that on the front end, we're providing so many more benefits down the road to marketers who are then looking to personalize or test or move people through marketing automation with really tailored communication. So this integration, right, continues to strengthen that and provide value to marketers that are leveraging it, and content teams as well, right? So now we have additional field types supported when connecting CMP to XP, a lot of acronyms, of course, leveraging this, to get more of your content in Content Hub and then send it out, working in XP, have that taxonomy persist. Of course, this is on top of, some of the DAM stuff as well that continues to be in place and is strengthened, also with some image similarity that's now come out within the DAM. So really being able to leverage kind of all of those updates from Content Hub 3.4, those are hugely beneficial to our customers leveraging XP, or who are even considering leveraging these two together. And that's something I think we'll see a lot more of. So just some updates there. Okay. So, and then last one, some updates around the Salesforce connector. So no more waiting for nightly sync of customer data, right? Having this tighter and more real-time connection between Sitecore marketing automation and SFMC, and having that be in real time, right? We know that some of our customers leverage our marketing automation. You know, some of them are leveraging Salesforce, excuse me. So just having these enhancements for this connector is huge. Being able to respond more immediately. This kind of goes back to the whole promise of XP10 in terms of not just launching experiences, but evolving them more quickly. So the more real-time data we have at our fingertips, the more we can do that, right? So being able to respond to events, and place a visitor and a plan within Journey Builder and Salesforce, but also to be able to get that current visitor XDB data to Salesforce and, you know, eventually back and forth in more real time is huge. It gives us much more accurate data to respond to and make sure that we're understanding where customers sit in their journey and what they need.
Fabulous. I can vouch for Jill's active Twitter presence. So if you do have questions, she is frequently to be found on Twitter, and I know she's already said so, would be delighted to answer any questions that you might have. Thank you everyone so much. This was an incredibly informative webinar, as evidenced by the fact that nobody wants to leave. So have a great day, and we will probably be scheduling our next webinar for November after Symposium. So stay tuned for updates. Don't forget to subscribe to the newsletter. And if you'd like to be involved with our next webinar, just email us and let us know what you'd like to talk about. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.